YouTube family. Hey, this is Pam, and this is Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television shows, and we review pop culture just to see how it will affect our everyday lives. Today, we are about to review Season 1, and today's title is What If the Earth Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? All right. So today, let me go back in my notes. There's a lot of notes. I'll give you my overall impression of the episode. It was good. It was good to see a couple of elements of the episode. Particularly, it was like, to me, a detective style, where they were trying to figure out who was killing what, but they were the people that were being affected by it. We start off with Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff. They're going out to see Tony Stark to, I guess, recruit him for the Avengers Initiative. Natasha has already been recruited. You know, Nick Fury is the person who is going to be running the whole shebang. So they go out to get Tony Stark's. What's interesting is that we pretty much see Tony Stark as he was before, and also in the comics, you know, he's a heavy drinker. I mean, a heavy drinker. So they get out to him, and he is looks like he's in the middle of the desert, hungover. He's in his Iron Man suit. They go to a diner and they talk to him about recruitment. And he's not really thinking about that. He wants to do things on his own. He pretty much tells them that. So, you know, again, he is hungover. He has had him a bender. He is really, truly hungover. So Natasha whips out this syringe and she injects him with lithium dioxide, is what she thought she injected into him. I guess the lithium dioxide is supposed to counter the effects of him being drunk. After, you know, maybe a few seconds of them injecting this substance into Tony's body, he starts convulsing and falling out on the floor. And then the next thing you know, he goes still. Natasha goes to check him. Tony is dead. He is so dead. Her and Nick are shocked. They don't know what's going on. As the scene continues, we click into the next scene where Natasha is literally being arrested for murder, for killing Tony Stark. So the team, she's had a security detail team come to pick her up to take her to Pierce, is what they said, for questioning. She relays to Nick Fury that, you know, she didn't do it. She didn't kill. He confirms with her, or he assures her that, hey, I know you didn't kill anybody, but somebody in S.H.I.E.L.D. had access to that syringe, so somebody is really wanted Tony Stark dead. We need to figure out who that somebody is. He gives Natasha something in her hand, and he tells her, I need you to find out who that somebody is. You can work better on the outside versus working in the inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that tells me that Natasha is about to escape her security detail. So they put her in the back of the truck. It's real quiet, and she's trying to break the monotony because there's no one talking. And she's just talking and doing a little foolish banter. And next thing you know, she asked one of the security guys, hey, would you hold this for me? And he's like, sure. Ends up, she's gotten out of her handcuffs, and then she just, you know, does what Natasha does. She's in the back beating up the security detail. Meanwhile, in the front seat, there is a soldier. Now, he seems and sounds familiar, but I just couldn't figure out who he was. But he's like, I don't know what Nick Fury sees into her. I mean, granted, she can fight, but she can, she can pack a punch. But, you know, she can pack a good punch for a girl. And he's doing all this talking. All of a while, you see the truck just kind of moving because she's back there beating everybody up. And once he realizes that, hey, she's beating up everybody, he has the driver to stop the truck. He goes back. Everybody in the back has been beaten unconscious, and Natasha is gone. It then breaks to the scene in Thor 1 when the hammer, when Mjolnir, I hope I'm saying that right, Mjolnir is out in the desert. Coulson is out there and he is calling on Nick Fury to let him know that the hammer is there. And, that the locals are getting antsy and he needs to know what he needs to do. Fury tells Coulson, hey, secure perimeter, and then he'll be there as soon as possible. I will say this, I'm just trying to see what happens, because this all seems like it was going on around the same time that Natasha was beating her way out of the truck. But anyway, my notes are telling me that when we go back to the hammer, they set the perimeter, and Nick Fury then comes there. He's greeted by Clint Barton, who's Hawkeye. He tells them that, they've set a perimeter, just pretty much that bantery military talk. Next thing you know, Coulson is outside, I guess, securing the perimeter when he finds one of their agents knocked out. He sounds the alarm. He lets them know that there is an intruder. So then he goes to describe what the intruder looks like. And he pretty much disguises him, like 6'2", 6'3", muscular guy, yada, yada, yada. Just describing Thor. And then he turns around and he says, ooh, and he's got great hair. And Nick Fury is like, I need eyes on the target. I need to figure out what he was like. No, he actually, he's like, what are you talking about, great hair? This is Nick Fury. Coulson is like, I'm saying, he's got great hair. Hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. So Nick Fury is like, well, I need eyes in the sky. So Clinton's like, I'm on it. So he's up in the, I call it a bird's nest. I don't know exactly what they call that vantage point that Clint was on. And he ends up seeing Thor. And he tells Nick Fury, yeah, basically Coulson's description of Thor is correct. That, ooh, he has great hair. So Clinton's like, well, I got a shot. I can get a shot on him. What do you want me to do? So Nick Fury is basically like, look, let's just wait, because if this artifact is what we think it is, somebody's going to come get it. And again, that was Thor coming to get the artifact. Nick Fury is telling Clint, don't shoot. Let's wait to see what happens, to see if he can lift it or what happens when Thor gets around it. Well, Clint has his bow and arrow pulled back, ready to shoot. Nick Fury is like, hold fire, don't shoot, hold fire. Clint has the guy on a target. Next thing you know, Clint lets go. He shoots the arrow. He shoots Thor right through the heart. Once he shoots Thor right through the heart, Thor is dead. Nick Fury is furious. He's like, what did you do? I told you not to shoot. I told you not to shoot. Clint's like, I didn't shoot. I didn't shoot. Wasn't me. I didn't shoot. And Nick is like, well, if it wasn't you, it sure was your arrow that shot him. Let me just take a quick drink. So Clint is explaining that he didn't do it. Nick is like, okay, I'm thinking at that point he's talking to Coulson at that point. And he's like, I believe that whoever killed Thor and whoever killed Stark is the same person. He couldn't prove it, but he just believes it's the same person. And Coulson tells him, well, Clint is real torn up about the fact that that Thor is dead. He's still claiming that he didn't release his hands, he didn't kill him, and that he's really, really torn up about it. So Nick Fury's like, well, I'm going to go and talk to him and see what's going on. He goes in. Clint is like, like it's got his knees up to his chest and his hands are resting on his knees and his head is down. So it just looks like he's taking a nap. So Nick Fury walks up to him and kind of taps and says, hey, wake up, wake up. And as soon as he taps him, Clinton just falls over, eyes open, excuse me, falls over, his eyes are open, dead to the floor. Just dead to the floor. So then they do an autopsy, and they thought, well, maybe Clint, took a cyanide pill and killed himself because he couldn't handle the guilt of killing Thor. And Nick Fury was like, no, that doesn't seem right, because Nick has a family. I mean, not Nick, but Clinton has a family and some kids, and he wouldn't just do this, and leave his family like this. He believes there's something going on. And then again, here comes this crazy banter, because Coulson is like taking all these deep breaths, and he's like, wow, I mean, he's a rotting corpse, talking about Thor. Because he's already talked about Thor and his luxurious hair. Now he talks about, oh man, he is a rotting corpse. And he still smells good. He really, really smells good. He smells like lavender. Nick Fury looks over at Coulson, but then he takes a deep breath and realizes, hey, he smells like lavender. So Nick leaves to go outside, and then he talks again that he believes all these deaths are connected. Meanwhile, Natasha goes to Dr. Ross. Now, you remember Betty Ross. Dr. Ross is Bruce Banner's friend, love interest, yada, yada, yada. She goes to Dr. Ross because she wants her to examine the syringe to see what's in the syringe that would have killed Tony Stark. And she wants it off the books, and she said that Dr. Ross has the ability to do things for S.H.I.E.L.D., but off the books. So, sorry, it was just a little noise. She does things and does things off the books. So, Dr. Ross says that she's going to help her. Excuse me. Dr. Ross says that she's going to help Natasha. They go through the syringe. She goes microscopically, and she tells Natasha that she doesn't know what killed Tony Stark, because there's no fluids, there's no anything. And she even tells her that the lithium dioxide that she was supposed to inject into Tony Stark is still in the syringe. She said it looks like some kind of projectile came out of the syringe, and maybe whatever was in the projectile is what killed Tony Stark. So while they're doing that and while they're talking, Fury calls Natasha and then informs her that Clint is dead. And she's just heartbroken, because her and Clint are really good friends. So it looks like within this universe, her and Clint are friends, just like they're in our MCU timeline, that her and Clint are friends. So she gets really sad, and then she gets really mad, and she's like, you tell me who I need to kill. So then Nick Fury starts to tell her about basically that it seems like the killer is going after everybody who's a part of the Avenger initiative. And he tells her that her and Bruce Banner are the last two members that are still here and still living. He tells her, he being Nick Fury, you need to go out there and you need to find Bruce Banner. And Natasha says, well, you know what? Strangely enough, I think I know where he's at. So there's this closed door. Let me just back up, because Natasha started noticing things for Betty Ross. Betty Ross told her, Dr. Betty Ross, let me put some respect on her name. Dr. Betty Ross said that there was nobody there but her. Then Natasha, being the super spy that she is, she starts to notice that, there's a whole other station where another microscope and things like that, like somebody was working at this station. And she's like, oh no, maybe, Betty Ross is like, oh no, maybe one of my interns left it. Maybe the intern left it. Natasha's like, no, something's not right. And then she sees this closed door. So she goes towards the closed door to open it. Betty Ross basically puts her body towards the door and said, no, I can't allow for you to go in there. And Natasha looked at her, with that cool but serious look, like, you either move or I make you move. So when she said that, that's when Bruce Banner comes out. And baby, he's like, hey, that won't be good for anybody, for any of us to get angry. So Natasha is explaining to Bruce that they need to get out of there, that there's somebody, she does the whole little spiel. And tells Bruce that they need to go. She starts to call Nick Fury to tell him that, hey, I got Bruce Banner. Meanwhile, while all that was going on with Natasha, the scene changes over to Coulson driving back out in the desert, and then all of a sudden, you start see when the Bifrost comes down, all the beautiful colors from the Bifrost, it starts to come down. Coulson calls Nick Fury and says, "Look, we're under attack." And Nick says, "Well, I know that." He says, "What do you see? What do you see?" And he was like, "Well, I see this big bright light, this big thing, something is coming down." And as soon as all the smoke clears, he's like, and it brought bogeys with it. So Nick Fury comes out, and lo and behold, it's Loki and damn near the whole Asgardian army. Loki is explaining to Nick Fury that he is there because they had killed Thor, Odin's son, and things like that. So while he's talking, you know how Loki likes to get into his spiel and of his grandiose, great importance to himself, describing that I am Loki, the rightful king of Jotunheim, and he just keeps going on and on and on. Meanwhile, Nick Fury's phone is ringing, and it is ringing. It is just ringing. It is just ringing. And again, Loki is trying to talk over the ring. And at this point, he's like, "Well, are you going to get that?" And he was like, Nick Fury was like, "Sure." So as Nick Fury answers the phone, it's Natasha. Natasha is telling him, "Look, General Ross is there with an army. They're there to get Bruce. What does she need to do?" He's like, "Well, I'm a little busy right now. I'm dealing with space aliens, And she was like, "Oh, okay. See, I'm busy, but you seem to want to show off the fact that you're dealing with space aliens." Just all throughout this episode, each one of the characters had something really a hilarious moment, and that was that moment between Natasha and Nick Fury. So she's like, "Okay, we're gonna handle it." All of a sudden, she's standing next to Bruce Banner, and somebody shoots him. And he just falls over, because he has been shot. And, the difference between, and the reason why for that to be such a big deal is because when Bruce Banner is in Bruce Banner mode, he can get them hot licks. He will get those hot licks. He will be hurt. And that's what happened. So somebody shot him, and they shot him basically in the shoulder area. So when asked, but now here's the thing. He's been shot. That has aggravated and upset him. He's getting upset. He's getting anxious. And the next thing you know, here comes the Hulk. The Hulk, Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk. Natasha she jumps out the window. She hits behind a car. And then Bruce Banner comes out. The Hulk comes out in all his green goodness. And he just decides to lay out General Ross and his army, his group. Meanwhile, while he's doing that, Nick Fury is having conversations about, what happened, and saying that he's telling Loki, "Hey, we the same person that killed your prince is the same person that killed two good people of mine. We need to work together." Loki's not really hearing about it because Loki has this box. At first, I thought it was the Mind Stone, but it's actually like a Asgardian ice ray gun. So he starts shooting this ice ray gun. Again, Nick Fury talks to him and tells him, "Look, we need to be working together. You laying waste to our world is not going to bring the prince back. Let's work together." And then, I can't think of what her name. Is it Lady Sif? Is that her name? I can't think of what her name is, but, she and Thor and the other two guys, what is it? This lady is Thor and the something 3. Forgive me. I just can't think of what they named their little clique right now. But she stops Loki and says, "Hey, we're going to listen. We need to wait because the Allfather," who they were talking about, Thor's father, would want them to listen to what they had to say. So Loki decides, "Look, I'm going to give you to sunrise that you produce who kills, or I'm just gonna come back and I'm gonna lay waste to this whole place. Flipping the scene back to Natasha, the army is trying to kill Bruce Banner. Excuse me, the Hulk. I don't know why I think I just like him being Bruce Banner. So the Hulk is always, I'm gonna be interchanging, but I'm speaking of the same person. So meanwhile, the Hulk is out there hulking, doing what needed to be done, giving us what he should give, because he is the doggone Hulk. Baby. Next thing you know, General Ross starts shooting at the Hulk. So then Betty Ross is running, trying to run to her father because she's going to try to talk her father in to stop shooting the thing. Natasha sees this, and she also sees something else goes on. So she goes from behind the car. She pushes Betty Ross out of the way. And Betty was like, you need to stop. Don't stop me. I'm going to go talk to my father because I can talk him down. He'll listen to me. And she's like, wait a minute, stop. Next thing you know, the Hulk starts to bulk up a little bit more. Bulk up. And I'm like, well, wow. I know when he gets mad, he usually gets a little bigger, but this seems odd. And then he's just like, oh my gosh. It's like he starts bulking up like a blister. You know how a blister or a bump or a boil or something like that? He just starts bubbling up and getting really, really big. Then all of a sudden, you see his eyes get real big. The Hulk done blowed up. You hear me? The Hulk blew up. Just blew up in front of our eyes. Gone. Dead. They didn't show it, but I just know that he was just an old nasty, pussy, blubbering mess. But he just blew up. So now, with him blowing up, let me count the deaths. So far we got Stark dead. We got Thor dead. We got Clint dead. And we got the Hulk dead. What is going on? All these people are dead. I mean, it's like the Avengers don't even have an opportunity to start because all the main characters are dead. Hell, we hadn't even come into Captain America. We hadn't even seen him yet. Wonder where he's at. Because we didn't see him yet. But anyway, Natasha leaves there. And she goes to the library. And while she's at the library, she calls Coulson and asks for his password. And Coulson's like, I'm not going to give you a password. I'm not going to give you my password. And she tells him, look, I've got to go through these files. S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm wanted for murder. S.H.I.E.L.D. has locked me out. I just can't get in and log on this computer with S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. I need your password. So then his, I think he said his password was _ Steve, love Steve, something, whatever the password is. Because you have to remember that Coulson is a serious Captain America fanboy. So it is just so funny. It is so funny. And she's like, wow. Natasha's like, wow, Coulson. You can hear the little embarrassment in his voice, but that was so funny. Just, but it's still cute to know that he is such a fanboy of Captain America. So while she's on the computer, she gets into the computer files, and she starts to notice that, as she's uncovering files and the initiatives and things like that, she says, wow, how is a woman who's been dead for 2 years be able to access files 2 days ago? That was interesting. So she goes to call Fury. Well, as she calls Fury, she hears somebody behind her, and she was like, you're not going to get away with this. We're going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. You don't hear anybody speaking. All of a sudden, you see Natasha she's in the midst of a fight. She calls for Fury, and her phone gets slung down. And then you hear that his voicemail comes up. So she's fighting, whoever it is, she's fighting. And I mean, they are really getting the best of her. She's trying everything she can to fight him off, but they are getting the best of her. And so they sling her over to the area near her phone. She sees that the phone is recording, and she tells Nick Fury on his voicemail, it's all about hope. It's all about hope. This whole thing is all about hope. And she's trying to get to her phone, I guess, to try to make another call or the thing, and then something just snatches her back. And we do not see Natasha anymore. So Natasha's just, she dead too. So now let's get to the body count again. We got Stark. We got Thor. We got Clint. We got the Hulk. And now we have Natasha. The scene goes back to Nick Fury. Nick Fury is listening to the voicemail, and he hears Natasha. It's all about hope. It's all about hope, Nick. It's all about hope. He gets into the car, and he pulls out the... you remember, if you watched Captain Marvel, the little pager that she made for him, that he could call her if there was something that needed to be done? So he pulls out the pager, and he's about to... I guess he was about to call her. Coulson says, hey, all the Avengers have been killed. And he was telling Nick, well, there is just one more Avenger. And he slides over the Avenger initiative to Nick Fury on his desk. And, it's where Nick Fury has signed this Avengers initiative for S.H.I.E.L.D. And he's still kind of puzzled about, it's all about hope. It's all about hope. And then I guess he realizes, okay. And Coulson says, you realize it's like 4 hours before sunup. And, Nick was like, very somber. I'm well aware of that. And then he gets in his car and he drives off. He drives off to the place where they had left the Asgardian and the Asgardian army to go talk with Loki. And then he runs into the God Destroyer. I don't know what they call it, but but it was in Thor 1, the big old metal of armor with the fire coming out. I know it's called a God Destroyer, but I don't know exactly if that was its name or did it have a name. I can't remember. Ooh, that was so good. So now the scene flashes to Nick Fury over the grave of Hope Van Dyne. And he's standing over the grave of Hope Van Dyne, and then behind him you hear, you've got some nerve coming here, coming to her gravesite. And then Nick is like, well, if it isn't Hank Pym. And then it was Hank Pym all along. So we realize now that it's all about hope. It's all about Hope Van Dyne. It's all about her death. Apparently, Hope Van Dyne was killed back a couple of years ago in Odessa, Ukraine. Now, why is that important? Because in our timeline, if you remember back in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Natasha tells Captain America that her run-in with the Winter Soldier was when she was in Odessa, and she was supposed to be escorting some scientists out of the Ukraine. While she was doing that, she was guarding the scientists, and that the Winter Soldier shot her through her, was trying to kill the Winter Soldier was trying to kill the scientist. So I guess she blocked her body in front of it, and then the Winter Soldier shot her and shot the scientist, but she survived. So apparently, in this timeline that we're looking at, in this universe, Natasha wasn't the one that went to Odessa. It was Hope Van Dyne, and she didn't make it. So Hank Pym is racked with guilt. He's racked with anger because of Hope's death. And him and Nick have this banter back and forth, and he's like, you killed my daughter just like you killed my wife. And Nick was like, well, was your wife an agent? I don't know, but she said that was your wife an agent? I didn't know her. Um, Hope, he says Hope died. He says Hope died for her country. I didn't kill her. Hope was on a mission and she was killed. And Hank Pym, there was just no consoling him, child. His eyes had all of dark circles, and he was like wild-eyed. But also he was in the Yellow Jacket suit. As I remember from Ant-Man, I can't think of who the man is, but he worked with Hank Pym. He had the Yellow Jacket suit. So now Hank Pym in this universe has that Yellow Jacket suit. So he's just basically told Nick Fury, it's over for you, son. Well, I'm about to kill you. So he goes in and he's fighting with Nick Fury. And boy, Nick Fury is like swatting. Boy, he is like an anime cartoon character. Boy, he is really blocking those blows and everything like that. And that Hank Pym was like, you kind of spry for an old man. Now, mind you, Hank Pym is old too. Matter of fact, Hank Pym seems like he's much older than Nick Fury, if you really want to know the truth about it. But I digress. But they're fighting, and I mean, Hank goes small, thinking he's about to just like go in with the kill. Nick Fury just swats him away. Hank doesn't understand because no one's ever been able to swat him away. And I mean, they're just fighting, and Nick Fury is getting the best of Hank Pym. I mean, going up in the air. It doesn't matter what attack that Hank Pym has on Nick Fury in the Yellow Jacket suit. Nick Fury is just like boom, boom, boom. And they're starting to talk, and he's talking all the while he's fighting. Nick Fury is like, well, why did you kill... And he starts naming all the people, because he was like, Hank Pym, because I was going to hurt you like you hurt me. I was going to get rid of everything that you love. So he was like, well, so that means that you murdered people? You did all of this and murdered people? He says, you all murdered my wife and you murdered my daughter, and I was going to, I murdered the people on your initiative so you would know how I feel to lose someone that you love. So he says, so what about the Asgardian prince? What about him? And he was like, Hank Pym was, and at this point he was just indignant. He was like, well, you were just going to recruit him and make him part of your initiative. So I did him a favor. I killed him off. He said, so you just killed an innocent person just because you could. And he was like, yeah. Next thing you know, Nick Fury turns into like several Nick Furies, and they're fighting with Hank Pym, and Hank Pym is looking like, what's going on? Next thing you know, boom, boom, bam, click, click, clock. Nick Fury turns into Loki. So that was, in essence, Hank Pym was fighting Loki. And then Loki and Nick Fury came before Hank Pym and basically told him, hey, it's over for you. It's over. He hands Hank Pym over to Loki, and you think that's it. No. I also wanted to say they did a montage on how the Yellow Jacket killed each and every person from Tony Stark. He was in the syringe, so when he blew through the syringe, he blew through the body, and I guess he killed Stark. Basically the same thing with Clint. He got small and let Clint's hand go. It was just a montage on how he did it. He blew some bomb inside of the Hulk's heart. So as the Hulk's heart was blowing up, that's what was causing the Hulk to go up. It was just sad. It was just really, really sad. All of this because, vengeance. Upset that his daughter was killed. Upset that his wife was killed. I still couldn't ascertain whether or not that his wife worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. or not. Nick Fury didn't seem to know if she worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything like that. But according to Hank Pym, she did, and she died doing undercover operations for S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I had said before, Nick Fury gives Hank Pym to Loki. They probably killed Hank Pym. We don't know. We didn't see them. Then we get the Watcher. Now, mind you about the Watcher. Every time you turned around and there was like a scene where they're driving in the car or doing anything, you see the outline in the shadow of the Watcher watching all of this stuff around. I thought that was interesting, just to see that, how they incorporate him and he's talking and narrating and doing all of those things. I think it was Coulson, or I don't know if it was the Watcher, that explained that the Avengers fell before they had to rise. I think it was Coulson. Fury was, he goes into his little speech about each one of them, because there's caskets just lined up. Everyone who's been killed, their casket is lined up. And he talks about that, S.H.I.E.L.D. is the people, they will be avenged, yada, 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 yada. Next thing you know, he walks into this hangar. And in this spot, you see this big frozen piece. This is a big frozen rock. And he goes and he pulls his hand over the icy rock, and you see Captain America's shield. And then he says, "Welcome back, Captain." And I'm thinking that he's talking to the frozen corpse, but actually he was talking about Captain Marvel. And so she was like, "Well, who do I need to punch?" And then it goes off. So apparently she's about to lay waste to Loki in his efforts to take over the world. Like I said in the beginning, it was and that's the end of the episode. It was a very good episode. It was very interesting. A couple of things that shot out to me. It would have been great. Well, let me just go back. One of the things that really was interesting to me is how great that Pym technology, or that Pym tech is, because he laid waste to I can see Tony Stark, and I can see Natasha Romanoff and Clint, because they were not superpowered individuals, but I am very, very amazed at the ingenuity of how he killed the Hulk. And also, Clint's and how Thor was killed, which was interesting too, because from my understanding, people threw bullets at Thor, and Thor was I don't know why I thought that Thor would outrun those bullets, but I guess with a bow and arrow, that's something totally different. But I was amazed at how he killed the Hulk. And that made me think, if he could have killed the Hulk that way, wouldn't it have been just like amazing when Thanos came? If we could have talked, because Ant-Man could have flew up Thor's behind and then go, you know what I'm saying? He could have tore up his intestines. He could have ripped the arteries to stop his heart or whatever. I ponder that question. I really do. That's something very, very interesting. Would he have been able to do that? And then I think about the fact that he is an Eternal. That, Thanos was an Eternal, so I don't know how easy it would have been to kill him, but he could be killed. But that was just something that could have been a great resource in Endgame, and I wonder why nobody thought about that. But I guess Thanos had to do what he had to do. But again, this was a good episode. If I would rank the three, I would go, if I had to rank them at this time, it would be 2, 3, and 1. That's how I would rank it. So I'm excited for episode 4. I'm really impressed with this with Marvel. It is a nice way to see blah blah blah. It's a great way to see the different twist on stories that we already know within the MCU. I'm not talking about the comics, because I know that this is a comic series, but this is just a really good way that they could do different twists on different stories, on different characters. They have the ability to introduce different characters within this universe. I'm still wondering if like like the episodes tie into each other, or are they just like an anthology? Just each episode is its own little universe in its own world, or is each episode tying into the universe? I would also like to see how these things play out in regards to the the multiverse. Is it going to cause any of these things going to be able to work with Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther, Captain America? How are these things going to tie in? Captain Marvel? Who else? How are these things going to tie into the franchises? That's going to be interesting. That's the end of my review. Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed what you hear, please give a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. And also, if you wouldn't mind, comment in the comments and subscribe. Again, I'm Pam from Pam Entertainment TV.